And inspiration at mountbakertheater.com.
If you would have told me 3 years ago
that we'd be downloading in seconds what used to take
minutes,
the guests would compliment our Wi-Fi,
that we could video conference
and do it like that.
If you'd have told me that I could afford
a gig speed.
A gig speed network.
It's like 20 times faster than what most people have.
I'd have said
you're dreaming.
Dreaming.
definitely dreaming.
Then again, dreaming is how I got this far.
Now more businesses and more places can afford to dream gig. Comcast, building America's largest gig speed network.
Before Hamilton, before Rent, this was trusted name in news.
Tonight, a new ruling in Stormy Daniels' legal battle with President Trump. A judge denying a motion by the porn star's lawyer to question Mr. Trump and his attorney, Michael Cohen, under oath. I spoke with Daniels' lawyer, Michael Avenatti, and he's insisting this is just a temporary setback. Our national correspondent, Athena Jones, is covering all these late-breaking developments for us. Athena, this round apparently goes to the president.
Hi, Wolf. That's right. The president and his personal attorney, Michael Cohen, won a legal victory in federal court today. A judge ruling they will not have to sit and answer questions under oath from Stormy Daniels' attorney, Michael Avenatti, at least not yet.
A federal judge in California is denying a move by Stormy Daniels' lawyer, Michael Avenatti, to question President Trump and his personal attorney, Michael Cohen, under oath about a $130,000 deal reached with Daniels before the 2016 election to keep her quiet. The judge calling the request premature. Avenatti playing down the ruling.
This is just a procedural ruling. It really means nothing. Basically, what the court has said is that we have to wait until the president and Mr. Cohen file their motion to compel arbitration. And as soon as we do that, or as soon as they do that, we can refile this motion. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Avenatti also denied a suggestion by Cohen spokesman David Schwartz that Daniels' first lawyer, Keith Davidson, sought out Cohen to make a deal 12 days before the election. That spokesman claiming Daniels was shopping her story to different media outlets.
The other Stormy Daniels' attorney approached Michael Cohen.
Schwartz adding that Davidson said it would take $130,000 for Daniels to stay quiet. Davidson wouldn't confirm the claim to CNN, citing attorney-client privilege, which Daniels hasn't let him out of. Avenatti talked to Wolf about that earlier.
Will your client, Stormy Daniels, release Keith Davidson, her first lawyer, from what he describes as attorney-client privilege that prevents him from discussing all this publicly?
I don't know, Wolf. We haven't discussed it.
Why not release him and let him tell everything he knows publicly?
I'll tell you what, Wolf, we'll make this challenge. If Michael Cohen and the president will waive the attorney-client privilege relating to this NDA and all of the others, my client will as well. How about that?
And in a case playing out in the court of public opinion...
Where is he?
No. Where is this guy? Why won't he come and say, why won't he come?
Cohen has been largely silent, with his friend and lawyer in another matter, Schwartz, doing the talking for him. But Schwartz may be making matters worse for Cohen and for Trump, arguing points that support Avenatti, who says the hush agreement is invalid because Trump did not sign on the line reserved for him under a pseudonym.
The president was not aware of the agreement. At least Michael Cohen never told him about the agreement. I can tell you that. And you asked a whole bunch of questions, so let me cover that. So you asked about 12 days before.
Not aware about the agreement. What about the money?
He was not aware about any of it.
Schwartz also suggested Cohen did these sorts of deals without Trump's knowledge frequently.
Because he's that close to him, he had great latitude to handle these matters. Michael was the fixer. We all know Mike, so yes. It could be anything. It's not that this matter. There were a ton of matters that took place that Michael fixed. And Donald Trump wasn't involved in every single matter.
Former federal prosecutor Renato Mariotti, who watched and tweeted about the interview with CNN's Aaron Burnett, says Schwartz's admission supports the idea that the deal is void.
You cannot bind another person to a contract without their informed consent. And it is unethical for a lawyer to enter into a contract on their client's behalf without their informed consent.
And he says Schwartz's statements are hurting Cohen.
I question what that attorney was doing because he essentially admitted that his client committed major ethical violations and hurt his client's position in a litigation.
Now, for his part, Schwartz says he's not surprised that California judge ruled against the motion to question the president and Cohen under oath. Schwartz called the motion frivolous and untimely and says the judge made the proper decision. As for whether he's helping the other side by saying Cohen never told Trump about the non-disclosure agreement, Schwartz repeated his argument that Trump was a third-party beneficiary of the deal, and he called the agreement rock solid. Wolf?
All right, Athena, thank you. Let's get to our analysts to assess. And Joey Jackson, did Schwartz misstep here?
I don't think he did, Wolf. Good evening to you, and here's why. And in the interest of full disclosure, I know David Schwartz. He's a friend of mine. I know him personally, professionally. Spoke to him yesterday for a bit. Having said that, here's the argument to be made. Number one, we have to understand that everything a lawyer says, we do opening statements in court, we do closing statements, and the judge reminds the jury, ladies and gentlemen, none of what they say has any bearing. It's not evidence, it's argument. Same thing when you talk to the press, it's argument. But here's the essence of the issue, going to the legal argument. You can look at it one way and say, yes, it's a major misstep because a contract is the intent to be bound between two parties, and if the other party is unaware, how could it be a contract? And by the way, he's a lawyer. There's no informed consent. You have to notify your client. But let's be clear the argument they're making. They're making the argument, that is Trump's people, that he was a third-party beneficiary. What does that mean in English? It means that if I purchase a car for my son, he's not aware of the purchase, I'm going to surprise him. The contract is as between myself and the dealership. To the extent that the car is never delivered, my son now has rights and could sue the car dealership even though he wasn't a party to the contract. That's what a third-party beneficiary contract is. Now, to be clear finally to the other argument, they're not going to argue that as Trump's people that Michael Cohen was acting as his lawyer. They're making the argument that it was a father-son relationship. He was the fixer. Again, I'm